Hello students, welcome back. So in this session, I'm going to show you how you can train a model and then save that model and also the encoder and then later on use it. So the data set that I'll be using is a mushroom data set. This one actually has all the information about mushrooms that are edible and not edible. So the first thing I'm doing, I'm importing my pandas as PD and this is my data set right here and I read my data set into a data frame. So this is my data frame right here. Then let's print out the shape of my data frame. And also I want to know what my columns are. So this one actually prints out the shapes. There are 8,124 rows and 23 columns. And this one prints out the columns. And these are the names of my columns right here. Let's take a look at some of the values. I want to see I just want to see how the values look like in my data frame. So in this case, I'm just printing out 10 samples. So you can see that this is a class. This is the one that we'll be predicting. And cap shape, cap surface, cap color, these are all the data, all the features right here. Okay, so 23 columns. Now I want to separate my features and target. So X, that's going to store all my features, and my Y is going to store my target. My class column, that's my target. So what I'm doing, I'm dropping a class from my data frame, and what's left over, that will be my features. In this Y, I'm just keeping the class column. So a class actually consists of P and E. I want to see the value count. I want to see how many values are for each one of these counts, or each one of these values. So in this case, for the E, which is edible, there are 4,208 records. For P, that is poisonous, there is 3,916 records. Let's encode our features. Now, if you recall, I showed you that all the features are basically the characters over there. Now, your machine learning model does not like that. It wants to see numbers. So I'm using ordinal encoder. This is going to encode all the numbers. So I'm creating my encoder right here, and then I'm feeding X to that, and that's going to create X encoded value. So let's run this cell, and this is done. Now let's print out the raw value and also the encoded value. I just want to see that, see how exactly it looks like. So this is my raw value. So your X, S, N, T, P. So this was just the first one. And this is the corresponding encoded value. These are the numerical value that this ordinal encoder did that for me. Okay, then I'm importing my train test split function, and then I feed my X encoded. I feed Y to that. I'm also specifying my testing size, in this case 20%. So let's run this cell, and that actually creates my X training, X testing, and data set. So let's train the model now. So in this case, I'm just using a simple model, which is random forest classifier, and I want total 200 trees, and I'm also specifying my random state. And this one right here is going to train the model. So I run this thing, and this is going to get trained pretty fast, not a big data set. Okay, so this is my mushroom. I want to see now. I want to test it on a sample. So this is my model that's trained, and this is one of the sample I just picked up. So this one contains X, S, N, T, P. These are all the values for these columns right here. The column I just showed you, which was right here. So there are 20. I believe there are 23 total columns. So this will be 22 total. Yeah. So 22 features right here. So in this case, I'm supplying these 22 features, and I want to see if it makes a right prediction. So I just copied that, and so this is my feature. This is my sample right here, 22 features. I'm feeding it. I'm actually converting into a data frame format because this is how my model was trained. And then after that, I'm encoding the sample. Now it's important that you use the same encoder that you used to train in the beginning. So you want to use the same encoder. In this case, now I'm going to be calling it transform. I would not call the fit method because this has been fit and transformed using the training sample. So, okay, I call this thing, and then I ask it to make a prediction. I feed to the predict inbuilt method. I give it sample encoded, and it makes a prediction. Oh, look at that. It predicted P, that it is a poisonous. And now I'm going to evaluate my model. So in this case, I'm importing the accuracy score function from the metrics. I'm feeding the X-test dataset, and then I'm just calculating its accuracy, and then I print my model accuracy. So let's see what it is. It's, oh, look at this, 100%. All right. So after I've done all this hard work, now let's save the model. So in this case, I'm importing my dump and load from Joblib. So this is responsible for dumping. Dump is responsible for saving your model. So in this case, I'm saving the model, and I'm also saving my encoder. This one was responsible for encoding your labels, the labels that was in text format. So in this case, it saved my model, and you can actually go and take a look at that those files. Now your model is saved. So this is saved over here. So this one actually is mushroom encoded joblib. That's this one. And the other one is this right here, mushroom model. So if you try to see this model through a notepad, you won't be able to see it. This would be all gibberish. That's because this is saved in a binary format. Okay, same thing with your mushroom encoder. If you try to view it, you won't be able to view it. Okay, so assuming that now you have saved your model and you've saved your encoder, you can give it to somebody. You can give it to your boss, you can give it to your coworker, or anybody. So all the hard work is done. So this way, they don't have to retrain and redo all the steps that you have done. Next step is after those people they receive your model, they can load the model. So from joblib, import the load function, you load the model, and you also load your encoder. This is important. You also want to load the same encoder, whatever encoder that was used to train this model on. So this is my sample data set. This is exactly the same one that I just used a minute ago. And then I'm converting this into my data frame because this is how the model was trained. Then I use the same encoder, this label encoder. I'm using label encoder to encode my data right here. This is actually gets encoded, and then I'm feeding it to my loaded model. This loaded model is this right here. I'm feeding it to it and making it, asking it to make a prediction, and it makes a prediction. And let's see what it does. It gives me a prediction P, exactly same prediction that was done before I saved the model. That was right here. All right, thank you.